Hey everyone, this is Emmanuel here, your certified body code practitioner and regression hypnotherapist. And so I'm excited to talk about a subject that I feel has a lot of meaning towards you who are dealing with depression, anxiety, but it's a very sensitive subject. And the reason why it's sensitive is because, we've been taught that sometimes there's a biochemistry issue inside the brain. Sometimes we've been taught in culture that if there's a genetic thing going on, that it got passed down through epigenetics. There's many different reasons why that you may be struggling with depression and anxiety. And my whole job today is just to give you some tools that have worked for me, worked for my clients for 9 years. And when I was younger, due to my circumstances, I would say, probably I didn't blame it on hereditary sort of things. I was dealing with a lot of more depression, not anxiety. And even when I was 14, I was 14 or was I? No, I was 16 years old. In military school, I actually had suicide ideation. I knew that I was on the precipice of depression, but I didn't know what to call it. I didn't even know if it was a big deal. I thought everyone kind of went through it. And it wasn't until I really started studying these trapped emotions that get stuck in the body that can cause certain things, that can actually make us reactive, and it overrides how we want to be. So, for example, if you're like, I'm going to be positive today, the problem with that is that that's great. Affirmations do work. And if you're doing affirmations, keep doing them. However, your subconscious will always win. Your subconscious it's a very tough person to battle because it's you, but it's on a grander scale. Almost like, again, the bottom of the iceberg, how deep and thick is it compared to just a little tip there, the conscious brain there, just trying to do the best that it can, and it's not going to win in the end. At the end, the Titanic does sink due to that huge glacier that you cannot see. What you don't know, can affect you, can hurt you. So let me give you those 15 things real quick on how to help you with depression, anxiety. These are, if you're a practitioner, you may look into this with your clients. If you're an emotion code or body code practitioner, if you're a regression hypnotherapist, then this may sound familiar to you. If you're not, then I will tell you what I've done with some clients using regression hypnotherapy. So I'm going to give you all the tools that we have here at our practice. But if you have someone that you work with, go back to them and say, hey, have you heard of these things? Or have you heard of that? Have you heard of that? And if there's anything that my wife and I can do for you, please let us know. We're here for you as well. Okay, so to the numbers. So 1 through 15. So the first thing is, what was beautiful is when I work with someone in a regression hypnotherapy, first of all, you're the one that hypnotizes yourself to go into theta state. A lot of people think it's like, you turn into a chicken and you wake up from this trance and like, who am I? What am I doing here? Wait, oh, I'm in a show. I'm in a hypnotist show. That's not hypnotherapy. Okay, those people are ridiculing what we're doing, which is actually tapping into theta state to do some different programming. And what's interesting is that there are amazing clinical trials on the benefits of using hypnotherapy for others, like pain being gone, weight release, certain mental conditions are gone due to just people going to the past and recovering themselves. One of the things, so number one is I would try a regression hypnotherapy session. They're called clinical regression hypnotherapy session. Okay. And let's say I was working with you. One of the things that would come up is there's a time where you can talk to your inner child. Now there's all these tools that you can use that I'll be able to use. And I kind of have to intuitively see, we have to use helium balloons, or we have to use this, disappear into the cloud concept, or we have to use this inner child concept. One of the ones that I love that really helps out clients a lot is the inner child. And psychologists talk about inner child all the time. In the body code, you can actually do healings on the inner child as a separate entity. That's a whole nother seminar. I can't wait to talk about that in some other seminar here, or a long video. But most psychologists just talk to your inner child. And that's what they say. In body code, you can actually work, like remove energies from your inner child. And in regression hypnotherapy, this is the best communication you'll ever have with your inner child. and you're talking to them, and you're basically going back in the past to soothe them because they don't know how to soothe themselves. They don't know how to handle their emotions. And there wasn't someone there typically who, if they were the perpetrator, or if they did not acknowledge your emotions, or you ran into solitude, there probably wasn't this exchange of conversation that needed to happen. One of the most beautiful things that gets me kind of emotional, I'm trying not to get emotional here, is when you're telling the child, you're doing the best you can. You're doing the best you can. This is the best you could have done. And this time has now passed, and it's made you the person you are now. Telling that to your inner child is very powerful. Again, I just gave you one snippet of how you talk to your little one because I'm guiding you to what to say to her or what to say to him. And the embrace you do, then it's crazy. You like turn to the people who are your perpetrators, whether it's your father or your mother or your sister or your brother, and to communicate with them, to do ho'oponopono on them in one way, shape, or form, where you're telling them, I love you, I forgive you, and seeing their response in your mind in the theta state. So that's one way to really help out with depression, anxiety, is you have to experience a hypnotherapy regression session, whether it's with someone else or with myself, but get to the point where like, hey, you know what? This was a pretty traumatizing moment in my childhood that I feel, watch this, you can trace back your anxiety or depression to certain times. So you can say, yeah, let's go to the first time you felt depressed. Boom, you go there. Let's go to the first time you felt anxiousness. Boom, your body takes you there. You might be surprised where you go. You think it goes somewhere age 6, but then it goes to age 3. Or you think it goes to age 11, then it goes to age 8. And you're like, oh yeah, this is when this happened. And you're reliving it in your mind, and then we're making peace with it. There were all these different tools. So inner child conversation is great. Safety bubble, that's number 2. And one of the cool methods in regression hypnotherapy is there's a thing called a safety bubble. And it's kind of like you push everything that's not safe to you outside your bubble. But there's a whole process to it. But this is good to know, though. This is good because if you ever do work with me or another hypnotherapist, you'll understand like, oh, this is where I go push things out of my bubble mentally. And it's like when you go to your real life again, you'll notice how you're better at keeping boundaries. Part of being also anxious and depressed too is you're depressed with the people you've kept in your life, and you're anxious with the people you're about to keep having in your life. I'll say it again. You're depressed because you keep the people that are toxic in your life, inside your life, and you kind of have grief for yourself that they're still there, or you're nervous about the future of the people that are going to come influence your life again, or you're keeping them in, you're not keeping the boundaries up. So what if you can find a way to mentally tune them out, push them out of the bubble, so that when you go back to regular life, you can actually keep your distance. Also, you remove emotional balloons. So, right, the third one is emotional balloons. You take these balloons and you basically blow them away into the sunset of certain emotions that come in. It could be anxiety, worry, nervousness, fear. A lot of, if you look at the stomach, for example, if someone says your gut, like I have a gut feeling, like a visceral gut feeling, that's great. Like I have a gut feeling I should do this. But also the gut represents worry, nervousness, anxiety too. Those are the emotions that the stomach produces. So if you're eating bad food, if you're not taking care of yourself health-wise, your stomach is not doing too well. If you're drinking too much soda, you're taking away the stomach lining of the stomach. If you're just doing things that are not helping out the stomach, guess what? You're producing more emotions of worry, nervousness, and anxiety. Another one that's very powerful is the button board. We picture having a board with all these buttons, and some of these buttons we have to switch off and be like, nope, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do that. Like you're lowering the Richter numbers of how you experience something. I'm just giving you guys some tools that you can find in regression hypnotherapy that might be fascinating to you, right? To me, it's fascinating. Like one of these cool little tools you can use for people. So there's one that's called the button board. Like you might have your buttons on, like all of the glass are flanked up, and then there's this, you're pushing all these buttons, and your job mentally is to turn these buttons off, and then also protect the board because no one can push your buttons. So that's kind of like hot buttons. So you don't allow people to touch your buttons anymore. If your subconscious believes it, that no one can touch those buttons, guess what happens to you the next time that someone makes you feel anxious or depressed? You don't feel much. You don't feel those things anymore because in your subconscious, they're covered. They can't touch your buttons. Also, too, forgiveness to parties. Here's another one here. Forgiveness to parties when you're, again, kind of like when I was talking about the inner child. How beautiful would it be if you don't have to go to the person and say, I forgive you, blah, blah. You can do it all in your subconscious in a beautiful theta state where I'm programming you to be like, forgiveness is the way and to let them go. And basically, you're doing healing, like you're going back in time to heal yourself so that you can return back to the current time a different person. So that's what regression hypnotherapy is all about. It's about being a time traveler in your subconscious to go back in time and ask certain questions. It's all about your questions. Your life, this is powerful, your life is directly proportionate to the questions you ask. Again, your life is directly proportionate to the questions you ask on a daily basis. If you ask the right questions, like, why do I feel anxious all the time? Then a regressionist takes you back to the first time you were anxious. Why do I feel depressed all the time? Let me take you back to the first time you were depressed. And then once you're done with that, let's say you get your healing in the theta state, guess what the next prerogative for the hypnotherapist is? When's the second time you felt depressed? When's the third time? And you're jumping timelines to see what area needs healing. It's really, really powerful. Okay. Then there's these things called healing rooms. Sometimes your guide, if you believe in guides, and trust me, after you do a couple of regression hypnotherapies, you will actually start believing in guides because they come to you. In fact, I just did a session like an hour ago, and he told me I knew that guides exist, but I've never heard them. I know that they're out there. It's almost like he read about it, or he got that information that they're out there, but it's almost like it wasn't real for him yet until I took him back and he's like, whoa, there's someone talking to me saying certain things. And he was getting wisdom nugget after wisdom nugget after wisdom nugget. And he was like, okay, they're telling me this. And it was beautiful. I mean, very loving teacher. Let me tell you that. Your guide's not some like flimsy, wishy-washy person. Most understanding, loving person. And it could be your family member, could be an angel, could be from somebody outside this planet, but they're higher than we are here, and they care about you. They watch us to make sure that we succeed in life. And I'm not talking about financial success. I'm talking about being a good person, being a loving person. Their goal is for you to emanate love, and that's why they give love to you. They taught you in a loving way. So that's another way to remove depression, anxiety. Usually you become more anxious and more depressed when what? When you think you're doing it all by yourself. When you're all by yourself, you go, I'm the only one dealing with this. When you go to support groups, watch the depression and anxiety go lower. But what's cooler than support groups? Knowing you have guides assigned to you to help you out in your life. That is a whole nother level of comfort that says, wow, it's like I've been going through this whole life thinking I'm by myself. There's not only a creator, but there's guides here that are here to assist me and give me advice and talk in my dreams if I need to. It really becomes, it's a team sport. Life becomes a team sport instead of you're by yourself. So that makes you not worry about the future anxiety or worry about the past, which is depression. Also, when you do, let's say, like a womb regression, when I take you back to the womb, you may understand why you're here. Why you're here levels you out with your depression, anxiety. Most people that have depression, anxiety, if I were to ask them one simple question, what are you doing here on earth? They usually look at me with like a deer in headlights look. And the reason why is because they haven't gotten the information yet. How special they are, that they're a son or daughter of the creator, but on top of that you chose to come here, that you chose your family, and that you have a mission to fulfill. And it's not to become a banker or to become a broker or to become a business person. It's to blank. And I can't answer that for you, but you can get that information for yourself. I won't tell you who I worked with a couple hours ago, but he found his calling is to help others transcend and make them aware of their emotions to transcend. But guess what he does? He makes guitars. Isn't that cool? In his mind, he thinks that's the best thing I could do for people. But then when he went into his womb, he realized, he's like, wait a minute. I'm making guitars because that's how the guide was like kind of connecting the dots, saying, I make guitars because it wasn't for other people. It was so I can connect with myself more. I can have a voice to myself. And how many people out there have so much emotional baggage that literally they don't have a voice anymore? What if I can make them a guitar and now they have a voice? I help them transcend. I transcend myself when they transcend. It was deep. I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. And he never thought of it that way. He never thought of like why he actually paid it. He always thought it's so people can like me. So people can like me. It was nothing to do with that. Deep in his subconscious, he's like, I have a voice now. I have a voice now, and I'm going to help other people emote because we have these emotional bodysuits that create these emotions. I can help them through therapeutic music to be able to release these emotions. Very powerful stuff. So, but if you were to kind of cut down his mission down to what he found in the womb, it's to help others transcend. That was it. To help others transcend. He knew they were coming here to transcend, so he wants to help the transcending process, right? That's his mission. Another person might be, this is the life to forgive. This is the life to be optimistic. This is the life to, everyone has kind of, it's just a one little liner that it'll be so clear to you when you get in the womb and you do a regression. And what does that do for you? How does that do? Are you really worried about your past or the future if you knew you chose to come here, if you know what your mission is? I mean, it's just different. Also, in the body code, we'll talk about body code. We're going to switch gears. In the body code, we have all these different charts that I have. I mean, I have this folder here, and there's just, if you can see this, there's just multiple charts. You see, like, there's an orange tab, there's a yellow tab, there's a green tab. There's all these different tabs that when I connect with people, I go, which chart do I use? Is it the first folder or is it the second folder? And it tells me which one I need to work with, and then what box it's in, even, odd, and I just kind of go through that. So your practitioner, your energy healer, whoever they are, they're probably muscle testing you, working with you. They probably have multiple charts. Make sure they have multiple charts. Because you never know which chart would actually be more beneficial for you. So I didn't pick one or two. I got as many as I could find. I have like 15 of them. And I just say, okay, out of these 15, is it 1 through 7 or 7 through 8 or 7 through 15? Which one is it? There's also this thing called a resistance. Okay, resistance metric. You're resisting to be present. That means you're pushing away to be present because there's some trauma that keeps getting triggered, right? And so when I meet with someone and they're like, I can't shake off anxiety, depression. Yes, it could be heart walls, it could be trapped emotions, it could be inherited stuff. But if there's resistance in the resistance metric, they're pushing something away. There's other ones too. Resistance to feeling. What if it says resistance to feeling sad? In your mind, what's the first thing you think of? Isn't that good? Don't you want to resist sadness, push it away? And the answer is no. You're delaying healing because you're not allowing sadness to flow through you. Everything is kind of flowing, ebbing and flowing. And if you kind of push against something, it's pushing back and you can't escape anxiety or depression. The goal is to remove the dam that you're trying to resist here, and then all of a sudden now you feel it and let it pass through you. Now you're over anxiety, over depression. So usually that's very powerful. Resistance to being present is another metric. Also, heart wall. If your heart feels heavy or feels like it's going to break, you're going through some trauma, your body will produce a heart wall. And that can also make you feel depression, anxiety, because you don't feel connected with anybody anymore. Why? Picture yourself in a bomb shelter. How connected do you feel to someone if you're in a beautiful forest, but you're in a bomb shelter and someone wants to give you a hug? You're in a bomb shelter. You can't feel that hug. So that's a problem. And you could feel anxious and depressed that you can't network. You can't, we came, it's so funny. Our bodies were meant to feel, it's a strange thing. Quantum physics wise, if we look at our bodies, it's like you're over there, I'm over here. It actually builds some form of separation due to our optic illusion, right? We're separated. But if you were to kind of take our eyes off, we're all connected. Like our energies are, like I'm connected to somebody in Ireland right now, like through my foot, all the way over there, through atoms. Technically, we're connected. But the eyes give us this illusion that we're disconnected. But if you have a heart wall, that's where the feeling comes in. Now you feel like you're disconnected. And it can give you anxiety, depression. Our body was meant to feel connected. There's also energies called will to energies. You want to write this down. Will to energies. Will to die. No will to recluse. Will to be stubborn. There's all these will tos. Like will tos, like you're willing to do something for a period of time. Those can give depression too. No will tos, like no will to live, also, or no will to forgive. These also give depression as well. And then another one is called aspects of consciousness, just versions of us. It's almost like a Jekyll and Hyde of you. And you could have depression consciousness or anxiety consciousness. Every time that you would typically feel anxiety, guess who pops out? This version of you just comes out of you. And then now this anxious person is handling life and taking the wheel. Your goal is to remove enough trauma from this aspect and then get rid of it. And then all of a sudden you are present. Same thing with depression too. Something typically makes you depressed. This version of you comes out, and takes the wheel, and says, hey, Emmanuel, get in the back. I'm driving now. And now all of a sudden this depression person is what kicks in. It's not you. Isn't that beautiful? This depressed person that you're looking at, this anxious person that you feel is in the mirror when you look back, technically that's not you. It's a version of you that you can remove enough trauma and then you can dispose of them. How powerful is that? Also, broadcast messages. Do you know what those are? So when you send out messages to people energetically, like beat me, or don't listen to me, or ignore me, or treat me like a child. These are messages, there's like a list of like 80 of them, that you're sending out to people, and you're attracting people that will maybe increase your depression and anxiety. So do you want to attract good people into your life that will increase your joy? Or have you been attracting the wrong things to your life? And then it kind of makes sense why you have depression and anxiety, because you're attracting the wrong people, vampires into your life, people who are narcissistic, psychopathic. Like, it's because of your childhood. You've made this message. If your parents treated you like a child and you're growing up and they still treat you like a child, you probably made a message that says, treat me like a child. The problem with it is now you leave the house and now you're sending off a message to like adults, like treat me like a child. And then now they're being abusive to you. They're not listening to you. They put you like on timeout. What's happening is that your childhood now has become like a magnet for the wrong people, and then you just get more and more depressed and anxious. So get rid of those broadcast messages. It's very key. Then memory fields. Memory fields are in the body code. If you have lots of memories of depression, anxiety, what does your body think? That I'm about to experience more depression, anxiety. So that's an issue. So it's usually like our body loves to do that. If we've had it in the past, we'll have it in the future. If I have clouds of memories that have depression, I'm going to have clouds of memories of depression in the future. But you can remove those. You can find those. You can even find the theme. Like, what's the theme of your memory field? And you can let's say like sadness, let's just say. Then remove all those memory fields of sadness. It can be like 100,000 of them. But you just do 3 swipes and you're gone. You've already released it, right? The last thing is inner voice. So my wife, one of the things that we don't have a real benefit in life is that whenever we're going through a tantrum, whenever we're going through hard times, super depressed, super anxious, do you realize that usually you're not alone? Usually you are alone in the circumstances, unless you kind of go out of your way to connect with someone to let them know, like, I'm dealing with this. But sometimes you're alone. And there's nothing to soothe you. There's nothing to take care of you. There's no one to like hold you. You're just kind of dealing with this stuff. And what I love about this app that my wife has on her phone is she can go on her phone and just say, my name is Jess, and she talks for like 12 seconds. That app will let her know, hey, you're feeling this too much and you're suppressing this, and this is how it's affecting your body. And it emails her 7 pages I think it's 7 or 11 pages of how it's affecting your body and what colors you need to have on your eyes. Like, so you can get these colored glasses, and my wife can tell you more about them. These colored glasses, and your body is craving those to help you balance your emotions. On top of that, it sends you binaural beats to help you regulate your emotions. There's certain tones, G tone, D tone, A tone, that actually affects your brain, and binaural beats are meant to balance your brain. And but usually, if you find them on the internet, they're very not custom made for you. They're just generic ones. This one is custom fit to your voice, whatever you put out there in those 12 seconds, that will regulate you. So that's what we all need as a child, is when we were going through these tantrums, we had no one to soothe us. We had to self-soothe. But now we have more of an adult version to self-soothe ourselves with the AOScan inner voice. So if you don't have that app, it's you're missing out, because life is going to be like this. And when you make lots of money, life is going to be like this. When you get very spiritual, life's going to be like this. When you break up with your partner, life is going to be like this. Like, it's kind of good just to know that life never goes like this or goes like this, because we live in a very yin-yang world. So wouldn't it be cool that when it dips, you have something to hold you and to bring you back up that you can do for yourself at any time? That's why I love that my wife uses that technology for our clients, because a lot of them have this as they do healings with me. They have their custom made binaural beats that they can, whenever they're having a speed bump, they have something to recover within 15 minutes or less. So that's another thing that I highly recommend, is getting an inner voice scan, or even just having the app for your whole family. That way any of your family members can regulate themselves emotionally. So hopefully these gave you some pretty interesting insights. I'll kind of go through the list there. Inner child conversation. Through regression that's number one. Through regression hypnotherapy, you can have great communication with your inner child. Number two, create a safety bubble. This is only done through regression hypnotherapy. You can create a bubble where you push everybody that's not safe on the outside. Changes the way you handle things that maybe give you depression, anxiety. People around you can give you depression, anxiety. Emotional balloons that you can release from your body to release these energies that you feel. Button boards, protect these buttons that people are pushing you, which may cause you depression, anxiety. Forgiveness to parties, timeline healing. You can go to different parts of your timelines where you felt depression, felt anxious, and you're actually forgiving the parties that were involved. Healing rooms. Sometimes a guide will send you to a healing room, and in there you can heal and recuperate, and then come back to regular consciousness and then move forward. Lessons. When you go to the womb, you can get lots of lessons. Like, what is the lesson that I learned from this person? Your subconscious knows the answer very quickly. And that kind of goes connected with womb regression. Womb regression tells you kind of like why you're here, why you chose your family, why you chose this time in life, what's your main mission here. If you have a lot of those answers, the things that you thought, like maybe 4 things make you feel like a victim and you feel anxious and depressed about it. But if we cross those all out because you realize you chose it for soul growth, it puts perspective. I always tell people perspective brings peace. I'll say it again. Perspective brings peace. If you see things differently, then you won't act the same way like you did before. Also, charts will help you out. Resistance to being present. If you're taking notes here, I'm filling out the whole list. Heart walls. You create these walls. These will to energies are also depression and anxiety. Aspects of consciousness, a version of you comes out. You might have a depression consciousness or an anxiety consciousness. Get rid of them. You can remove enough trauma from them to level 10 and then just take them out. Broadcast messages. Are you attracting things that bring you depression and anxiety? Memory fields. Maybe you have lots of memory fields, lots of memories where you feel depressed and anxious, and now your body, that's all it sees. In fact, it can even give you vision problems as well. And the last thing is use the inner voice from the SoulX device. Use that. You can use it on the daily basis, morning and night. If you want more information about that, you can always email my wife, healwithjess@gmail.com. Again, healwithjess@gmail.com, and she can tell you more about that amazing technology for your family, right? So hopefully you enjoyed this. We are doing a depression, anxiety 7-day healing right now. While you're watching this video today, there's one happening right now. It's not too late to join. I will post the link below if you want to be a part of that. I made it for less than a session for 7 days of healing, like 12 hours of healing every single day. And so if you watch this on Thursday or Friday, it's still not too late to join. It goes retroactively for you. So you get the healings in the nighttime while everyone else is sleeping, and then it goes on beyond the week. So you can catch up with all the things that we did. So it's not too late to join. It's always retroactive. So that's happening right now. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Put a like button. Put the little bell on there because, like I said, I will be doing live healings really soon. And from time to time, if I jump on here, you want to have that bell on because then you'll know when I'm here doing some healings. And last but not least, make sure you join Heal, haveempathyandlove.com. Again, haveempathyandlove.com. In that website, you'll get it's a free platform for people who love the holistic lifestyle. Plus, I'm doing group healing every single week. And on Sundays, you get a free healing for your whole family. Just for being there, you get a free group healing on Sunday, and you can benefit from that. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. Please comment below which one was your favorite tip. And again, make sure to subscribe, and we will talk soon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.